So first off, how much did you know about Elizabeth Layton before taking on the role? And do you think they were as close as they seem in the film?
I didn't know anything about her. I learned everything from the research in her book, which is fascinating. And I think the relationship isn't at all over dramatized actually, but in the book you learn that relationship developed over the course of 5 years. I mean, she worked with him through the whole of the war, so and in the film obviously that's sped up to a much shorter timeline, but the sentiment of their relationship and the sort of dedication of her and the appreciation that he had of her, I think that's very, very true. I don't think she prompted him in the middle of his finalist speech at Parliament, but I think that what I love, and I think when Anthony the writer talks about this, is that at times you do create elements that aren't, the encounter on the tube isn't recorded in history as happening, but the sentiment of what it is portraying is entirely true, and that's what's important.
Great. Gary Oldman's performance has been talked about as one of the best of the year. Did you pick up any tips acting alongside him?
Oh God, I often think with these great actors, most of what they do is unlearnable, and no matter how hard you watch, you can't. It's just a magic that they possess, an ability to inhabit and become another person without ever overacting and just sort of thinking thoughts and truthfully being. But I did really try and watch him, and I think there's the little things that I noticed, whether or not he believed them to be true or not. I sort of noticed how he maintained energy and emotion throughout a scene, and stuff that I've actually already tried to put into practice myself. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be the next Gary Oldman.
Nice. And Churchill's politics is always quite theatrical, a lot of big speeches and big gestures, and you've had a theatrical background as well. Were there any kind of skills that you brought from your stage experience to this film?
I think you always do. I think that Darkest Hour could even be a stage theatrical production. How Joe shoots, it's often one shots. He doesn't really go into coverage. It's all very choreographed and planned. And so in that respect, throughout those war rooms, the camera would just move, and so you did have to sort of start and finish. A couple of my scenes were one shot, so you have to start and inhabit and continue until the cameras stop, and that's like starting a play, and you can't stop till the curtain goes down. So I did, yeah.
Awesome. And Joe Wright's been known to have quite a laid-back set. Did you find that to be your experience?
Well, laid back is maybe a confusing word, because I think sets are always, and Joe takes what he does very, the work, the sort of what we're creating and the scenes and the moments and the story so incredibly serious, but whilst keeping a great sense of humour. And there was a moment in Parliament, in the House of Commons, when Churchill's giving his final speech, and there was 600 extras singing Hey Jude and waving their papers in the air, and he would play music a lot before shots and takes, but often to lead us in the right direction emotionally. So it was a useful tool, as well as creating quite a nice atmosphere. So, yeah.
Nice. And my last question for you is that you had a lot of work on the big screen recently, but do you have any plans to return to the stage anytime soon?
I'd love to. That's actually what I'd like to do next. I've just come to the end of another job, and I'm finished shooting a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm ready to take a bit of a break and maybe do a play. I often think in theatre you can play parts that are more obviously against your kind of type. I hate that word, but it does sort of happen where you end up and on stage Gary can do it on screen. Gary completely can transform, but often the stage is a place where you can be bolder and braver, and the audience allow sort of less reality, if that makes sense.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's everything.
Brilliant.
Cheers.